Hello and welcome to this video tutorial on automations. This is a powerful tool that allows you to create and automate a whole host of actions in your server. We will cover the basics of setting up automations. We will also look at some examples that could be used in your server. You can use the timestamps in the description to jump to the tutorial sections and to each of the examples. Log into the MEE6 dashboard. Click on the Automations link on the left side, which will take you to the Automations page. The Automations page will initially be empty. As you create automations, they will be listed on this page. You can create a maximum of 50 automations. There are 3 predefined templates you can use to get started. The Welcomer template can be used for greeting members in your community. It will react with a waving hand emoji to any message containing any of the 4 keywords and will reply with a brief hello message. You can use it as it is, or customize it further to use your own reaction emojis, specify your own welcome message, and choose specific channels for this to work in. The Starboard template is useful for showing popular posts in your community. If members react to messages with a star emoji and it has been used 10 times on a message, it will be reposted in another channel. You can use it as it is, just by adding the channel you want the message reposted in. You can also customize it to specify your own reaction emoji, change the reactions limit, and more besides. The Thread Joiner template is great for discussions with members of your community, for example to answer support questions. If members start a thread in a chosen channel, it will add specified members to the discussion thread and respond with a brief message. You can use it as it is, just by adding the channel and specified members. You can also customize it with your own reply and other conditions and actions. Let's look at creating 2 automations from scratch. These automations will create a simple help system that responds to members asking for help, and will give some information as well as a button that will create a thread for further assistance. Click on From Scratch to create a new blank automation. At the top, click on New Automation and give it a name to help you remember what it is for. Automations consist of 3 main parts. We will look at each in turn as we create our automation. The first part is When Someone. This is the trigger action that someone makes in your server that the automation will apply to. There are several to choose from. For this automation, we will select Sends a Message. The second part is If. This is the condition that must be met for the automation to activate. You can have a single condition or multiple conditions. There are several to choose from. For this, we will choose the message contains one of these words or sentences. We can now add any keywords or phrases that are required to activate the automation. We will add help, as that's the obvious keyword members will use. Type it in, then click the plus button to add it. We can add any others we think may be used. Words and phrases are not case sensitive. Words and phrases must match exactly, there are no partial matches. We can now add more conditions if required. With multiple conditions, all must be met for the automation to activate. For this second condition, we will choose It happened in one of these channels or categories. We can then limit the automation to specific channels. In this case, we will limit it to general chat. The third part is Do This. This is the action the automation will carry out. You can have either a single action or multiple actions. There are several to choose from. For this, we will choose Reply to the Message. We can now add the reply either as a standard message, an embed, or both. The message can contain MEE6 variables. You can read more about these via the link in the description. We will use the user.name variable to put in the name of the member in the text box. This personalizes the response, and there is another reason for this which we will see later. We're also going to add a button. It won't do anything in this automation, we need another automation to make use of it. It's best to give buttons unique names so that you can choose the right one in another automation. We aren't going to add any more actions in this automation, so we'll save it. Save keeps the automation, but doesn't activate it. Publish saves and activates the automation. We will activate it later when we finish the second automation. Click on From Scratch to create our second new blank automation. This second automation will use the button added in the first automation. Automations can only use buttons from other automations. You cannot use buttons from other plugins such as reaction roles or embeds. We will choose the Clicks a Button trigger action. We can now click on Select a Button from the list and select the button we created in the first automation. You can see here why it's best to give buttons unique names so that you can choose the right one. The first action we will select is Create a Thread from the message. This will create a thread with an initial message where further assistance can be given. We will include a message for the user to prompt them to explain what help they require. We will use the user variable to mention the member who needs help so they can find the thread more easily. The thread name box does not support MEE6 variables. You can type in a thread name, however all threads created by the help system will have the same name. If you leave it blank, then the thread title will be named after the bot help reply. The bot help reply from the first automation begins with the username of the member. So the thread title will always begin with the username, making it unique to them. This gets around the thread name box not supporting MEE6 variables. The second action we will select is Send a Message. This will send a message to another channel to let admins know that assistance is required. You can ping the admin role and also mention the member that needs help and in which channel. The third action we will select is Reply to the Message. This will reply to the member who clicked the button to let them know about the thread and that admins have been informed. There is an option to only show the response to the member. This is called an ephemeral message and is only available when clicking on buttons. This is useful in this instance as it means the channel won't get clogged up with reply messages. We aren't going to add any more actions to this automation, so we'll save it. Now that both automations are ready to use, we can click on their enable buttons to activate them. Here are the automations in action. Discord only allows for one thread to be created from a message, so once the button is clicked by a member to create a thread, other members can't create additional threads from this button, so it can't be abused. Also, because of the order of actions we set up, the ephemeral message will only appear the first time the button is used. This demonstrates a simple help system for a server using automations. Here are some examples of other ways that automations can be used. You can use the timestamps in the description to jump to the examples you are interested in. This automation will mention the member when they get a role reward from the Levels plugin and tell them the benefits they get with this role. You will need a separate automation for each role reward notification you want. This automation will mention the member and thank them when they get a server boost role. This automation will tell members not to ping a role or a member and to use the Tickets plugin instead to contact admins. You will need to add the role or username using their IDs, as there is no pop-up for these in matching words. See my video on Discord IDs via the card in the top right of the video. The link is also in the description. This automation will automatically add 3 reactions to messages sent in a channel. This can be used for suggestions, allowing members to vote on these. You can use this as it is, or you can add a second automation and have suggestions that reach a certain number of thumbs up reposted in a separate channel. This makes it easy to keep track of popular suggestions. Whilst you can use the Giveaways plugin to give economy coins to members who enter a giveaway, you are limited to 90 winners. These automations allow you to give a specified amount of coins to any number of members. The first automation creates the button to use and allows only the named member to activate this automation with a keyword. The second automation gives the coins when the button is clicked if they do not have the coins awarded role. It replies with a message, then it gives the coins awarded role. This will prevent members getting coins more than once if they click on the button multiple times. Similar to the economy coins gift automations, these two automations allow you to give specified amount of XP to any number of members. These automations create an information system for your server. The first automation creates the buttons to use and allows only the named member to activate this automation with a keyword. You can then put this in an information channel you create. The other automations then respond to the buttons when clicked by a member. Responses are ephemeral messages so that the information system message always remains visible. Whilst you can give reaction roles to give roles, members can use these again to remove that role. You can use custom commands to give a role and members can't remove it. However, if you prefer members to use buttons, you can also do this with automations. The first automation creates the button to use to give the role and allows only the named member to activate this automation with a keyword. The second automation responds to the button when clicked, giving the role and responding with an ephemeral message. You can add more complexity to roles buttons. In this example, members are given a choice between two roles. The first automation creates the buttons to use to give the roles and allows only the named member to activate this automation with a keyword. The second automation responds to the Role 1 button when clicked. It will give Role 1 and respond with an ephemeral message if the member does not have Role 2. The third automation responds to the Role 2 button when clicked. It will give Role 2 and respond with an ephemeral message if the member does not have Role 1. Having the user does not have one of these roles condition in the automations means that members can't choose both roles. Roles choice buttons can be even more complex if you wish, giving more role choice options, as well as removing roles or a combination of adding and removing roles. There are many other possibilities for automations. It comes down to your imagination and what might be useful in your server. That covers automations. Do check out the other Managing MEE6 tutorials.